It now looks like a four-pronged attack for Ineos and Manchester United's restructure. We were talking this morning about Erik ten Hag and why we thought he was going out the door and why it was so obvious. Ineos looking at the structure above him more. And then straight after that, as it always is, out comes more news regarding Dougie Freedman, Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth. Obviously, we've already got Omar Barada, but we're talking everything about Manchester United's, let's just say, 3 extras on top of Barada in this show today, everybody. Get your comments in live. Let me know what you think. We're starting off with Dougie Freedman, the former Crystal Palace and now still at Crystal Palace. He is their sporting director. He has been involved in quite a lot of deals. We're going to go through them as well. Why we're looking at Dougie Freedman. Obviously, the roles that Ineos are earmarking and who is going to fill them roles as well. There's more news on that. So it's not just Dougie Freedman and Dan Ashworth. It looks like there is one more. And that reportedly is going to be Jason Wilcox as well. But first of all, let's get into why Dougie. Why are Manchester United looking at Dougie Freedman as an option for, well, let's just say head of recruitment? There's all sorts of different roles, isn't there, in terms of the structure of a football club and how their modern day football club runs. It's just something that we're just not used to. So we're hearing all of these names. We're like, who's doing this role? Who's doing that role? There's more updates on what's happening with Darren Fletcher tonight as well, and obviously John Murtough as well. So it is a full-prong merry-go-round of staff and structure at Manchester United today, and we're getting into all of it now, starting with Dougie. And why? Why are we looking at Dougie Freedman? What has he done with Crystal Palace? I can hear the chat already. I've seen the chat just before we started there, and a lot of people were like, what has he done? What masterful signings has he brought in? So let's just go through a few of them that people actually will know. And why we are looking at Dougie Freedman. Why is it important to look at what he's done before? Well, Ineos are looking to completely change the direction of Manchester United and how we operate. So football-related, business-wise, everything like that comes into what these people are doing, what we're talking about right now. Dougie Freedman, Lerma, Johnston, Elise, Eze, Anderson, Decore and Gehi. All bought for around 90 million. Worth now, according to the transfer market, and what is being quoted out there, 350 million. That's why United are looking at Dougie Freedman. That's why we're looking at someone like that who is used to finding the talent, rather than looking in the papers and seeing who's got the most columns, who's got the most... what's the word I'm looking for there? I had it all set up then perfectly. Who's filling more column articles and who's filling more columns in newspapers? I mean, that's what United have done in the past. We haven't really found or dug out anyone. The only player that I think Manchester United can get credit for in terms of the transfer market that nobody really knew about that much, you could probably say Højlund. I'll give them credit for Garnacho for bringing him in as a youngster, 350 million from Atleti's academy. That was a good signing. That's the sort of thing that United need to be doing more of. And I think this is why you're looking at the likes of Dougie Freedman coming in. You're looking at the experience that he's had. And notice that Wilcox, Dougie Freedman, Dan Ashworth, all of the same age, all within about 3 years of each other, all have the same amount of experience. I think what they're trying to do in Ineos is trying to mould a team together that is completely on the same page and understanding of how football clubs are supposed to be run, or run the right way, you could say. Everyone needs to be thinking exactly the same, looking down the same pathway and looking at the same types of players and moving Manchester United forward. I think this is why they're recruiting is so detailed. That's why. I think everyone wanting to know what these men are all about. I think Ineos know exactly what they're about and Ineos know exactly what they need from them. So that's why we're looking at Dougie Freedman as well. It's someone who knows his way around the Premier League. First things first, let's get back up there in the Premier League. I think that's most important. Guys, get your comments coming in the live chat, please. And obviously, get your comments in after the show is finished. And make sure you're giving the video a like. And obviously, make sure you are subscribing as well if you are tuning in for the first time. Thanks for joining us this evening, everybody. Another night off for United. It's these long weeks, isn't it, in between Premier League games, especially when there's Champions League football going on. Knowing how poor we were in this competition earlier on this season, it just hits hard, doesn't it? It really hits hard for all United fans in terms of like where we should have been. We should have been competing right now in some form of European competition, but we went completely out. This is why the changes. If there was ever a time to actually look at what Manchester United are doing, how they're recruiting, the staff that they're bringing in, it's moments like this, in these game weeks of European football, when we're just sat on our arses moaning about training too hard. That's when Manchester United fans need to sort of sit down and go, right, okay, this is why everything needs to change at United, even if it does include changing the manager. It's a million miles away from where we should be. And Ineos are looking to make sure that the structure is right in what we're doing right now to move forward into the future. And I think that's important in all of this. And like them signings I've just said there, it's from Dougie Freedman, what he's found, what he's brought into Crystal Palace. And you look at just picking one out of there, Joachim Anderson from Lyon, about 17 million he was brought in for. Now worth around about 35, 40 million in the market. That's the type of player, but not obviously that low. But United should be looking at players that they can bring through for a certain amount of money, just on the blind side. I feel that's what United haven't done for a long time. I've said this before. It's like the people that you don't know about, or the people that you haven't heard of. You're having to search through YouTube for a bleeding form clip or something like that. These players that are properly scouted and dug out and looked into in every single way for their attributes and how they're going to fit our football team, they're the ones that are doing well right now. Like your Højlund. No one knew about Højlund. No one knew that much about him. He was just a young lad who scored 9 goals for Atalanta. He looked like a decent player, but they've seen potential there, and that's come through now. So that is good. You're looking at Garnacho, like I said, spotted in Atleti's academy, brought through to Manchester United. Another player that's that everyone's liking at Manchester United right now. Another player that's done well and is really a positive about the club. Mainu come through our academy. And then you're looking elsewhere, you're like, they're all quite obvious signings that we've brought in. There's nothing great about it. There's nothing great at all. I'm going to read through actually what is going on right now with the news and where we're up to with everything. So, Manchester United are set to make an official approach for Crystal Palace's director, Dougie Freedman, to become the head of recruitment under Ineos. So, head of recruitment for him. Also, Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to appoint a technical performance director at Manchester United, in which Jason Wilcox is the leading contender for one of the roles. He wants to appoint a technical and performance director. So, Wilcox, one of them roles, and probably Dougie Freedman the other, and Dan Ashworth, sporting director, with Omar Barada above them. There is your quartet. That's your four-prong attack for making sure that Manchester United don't fall behind anymore to everyone else in the league right now. That's what we're looking at. Do you guys understand exactly what is going on in terms of this? Get your comments coming in right now. Let me know what you think in terms of these players that we're talking about here. What do you want from this? That's the question I'm asking you guys, because we went through all the managers earlier on today. No one was happy. No one was convinced with any of them. There's always going to be someone upset at United. I said before, and people have come back in the comment section afterwards and said, are you serious when you are talking about bringing Potter in? You cannot be serious. I've just come back and said, look, it's not so much about Potter, it's about the structure that's above the manager that's more important than anything right now. And this is why we've not heard anything or any movement on Ten Hag. It's just the rumour mill. There's more to come from that as well. I'll get into more on Ten Hag a little bit later on in the show, because there's more news come out as well today. But the structure is what's important right now. It's everything that's been going wrong at United has been above the managers. We should be concentrating on this, and we should be looking at the positives in what is happening right now, in what Ineos are doing behind the scenes. It's hard because the football's crap and we're all dejected watching the same old dross. We're talking about players throwing managers under the bus. It's hard not to be negative about the team right now. I wanted to spin it around and talk about the actual structure and look at what is going to be a positive for this club going forward. We cannot forget where the main issues are. Yes, you've got a problem with the Glazers. They will always be there and always be a problem while they're there at the football club. No one's going to like it. But what was a real problem was how the money that this club generated was being spent under the Glazers. So they left numpties in charge of running Manchester United. What's important for all Man United fans to understand is that we are now looking at this in a completely different light, and we are looking to change everything properly with the right people in charge. I'm actually excited more about this than the manager change at the moment, honestly. Ten Hag can stay there and just see out the season for now for me. I'm really not bothered. I've kind of given up on this season in getting anything out of it at all. I'll be there supporting the team, hoping for them moments like we are going to get occasionally from now until the end of the season. But right now, all I'm bothered about is what is happening behind the scenes, because that's the only way that we're going to get any success going forward. That's the only way any manager coming into this team is going to get success. It's impossible for anyone to succeed under the old regime. We've seen that before. So let's look at this as a positive. Let's look at this as a Manchester United now looking to change completely from what has failed before. You should be excited about all of this. I'm going to come into the chat now and see where you guys are at. Thomas says, players will say, now we are not playing enough. That's why we lost another game. We won't get Champions League. So play the young players. We have good players. Let them play. Nothing to lose. Again, Thomas, I think I've answered that question so many times recently. I completely understand where you're coming from, mate. But I don't want these players now, these first teamers, to get away with it. They have ruined this season. They're the ones who should see it out and take the fall for it. I don't want to see any more young players come through and just be brought down to this level. I want to save them for when we've actually got a good team for these players to actually come into, a proper structure. That's where I'm at with that. Phil says, great content, Adam. Loving the shows, mate. Thank you, Phil. He will be about 100 million for United. Someone talking about another player there. A lot of funny titles. I hope it means we'll start winning some titles. Hopefully, guess. That's it. Maybe United should hire the person at Atalanta who Højlund and Scalvini. Who Højlund and Scalvini are what? Newbies, Cubies. Was that a typo? Signed. Sorry, I seen that underneath there. Who signed them two players? Maybe we should be looking... Yeah, I understand what you're saying there. Just because they found a couple of players doesn't mean that they are the answer. And I know you could say that about Dougie Freedman, Dan Ashworth, you could. I think what we're looking at here is someone ultimately who knows the Premier League well, who knows players in the Premier League well, knows what Manchester United are about and what we need. I know it's difficult to say it now because, let's be honest, we've never had this before. So we don't know who fits Manchester United in the structure that Ineos are building. What type of character is the right character for United right now? Because no one has ever done this role at the football club before. So Dan Ashworth coming in, if it's Dan Ashworth, Wilcox, Dougie Freedman, if they're the ones coming in, we've got no guarantee that they're going to actually do this. This is why it's so delicate right now. And as exciting as it is that we're actually bringing a structure in, there's no guarantee it's going to work because, let's be honest, not one of these people have worked at a club the size of Manchester United with the expectations of Manchester United in the so-called roles that we're looking to employ them in. That's what you've got to look at in this as well. So as much as I'm bigging it up and I am positive about it, I do still have that little bit of doubt that there may be mistakes still. The problem we've got is, and I keep going back to this word constantly, is this fan base patient enough to see out this process right now? This time under Ineos and this rebuild. Are we patient enough to see this through? I don't know. Because if results don't improve straight away, some will start jumping onto the back of the regime straight away, instantly. If you are patient with it, you get through one season, but you're not seeing the results, we're still not back in the Champions League, say going in to the back end of the second season, are you starting to worry? Are you starting to twitch a little bit with the results? Is it enough? There is all sorts that could go wrong still with Manchester United under Ineos. But what we have to look at is they're looking to do it properly and they're looking to recruit in exactly the right way. We've already got the best that there is in the CEO position in Omar Barada, pretty much. Dan Ashworth, again, is one of them top levels for the sporting director. And now Wilcox and Freedman, if it is them two that are supposedly coming in, then you've got to look at them, I feel, as the lesser roles, because them two, I would say, I'm not saying they're not as experienced, but I would say not as experienced in the higher roles as what a Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada have been. And I think I think they're just levelling it down, Ineos. I think they're just trying to make sure that it's the right man there, moving down to the next. So they report to them, it goes up, or is it all of them together? We'll find out in time, obviously, but it has to be the men with the knowledge. It has to be the men that know what's coming. And I'll go back to it one more time again. They don't know what's coming because they've never been employed by Manchester United before. We've seen what United does to people. It can absolutely destroy your career, whether you're a player, coach, physio, manager, CEO. We destroy careers at this football club. We damage reputations because of how we've been run. It has to be perfect. This audit that Brailsford has done and Sir Jim Radcliffe has done, this will be going through everything, all of the mistakes, all of the details. They are not leaving one stone unturned under this because it is so delicate and so important that United make sure that everything is absolutely spot on in what they're doing in restructuring this football club and the sporting side of things. It has to be absolutely bob on. UK Strains says, we need proper wingers who can tear up defences and cross the ball. Was watching some early 2000s United and just watch Giggs and Beckham. On them wings was beautiful football. It was beautiful football back in the day, different game, mate. And can we play like that these days? I don't know. Guys, make sure you please give the video a like and hit that subscribe button as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you also download our SofaScore app, bottom right hand corner there. I'll talk more about that later on in the show. Drop in the description. The link is there as well at the top. Cal says, will you block me if you don't like the answer? From what, mate? Answer to what? Sorry. Oh, you're talking to the mods. Andrew, I think we need people who are on the same page. I don't care if it's Potter. I would rather a team that are comfortable with each other. That means you have to get rid of players, I think, because this team clearly hasn't worked well with nearly everyone that's come in. And we're talking about the long-staying players right now. Let's get into some more chats. What's going on? Brailsford, if anyone can be described as a winner in sports, it's him. Andrew, very true. Some people would argue with that and say, yeah, but not in our sport. But I agree with what you're saying. He does know his side and what he brings to the table. And I think what his job is to do is to make sure that Manchester United are employing people in the other departments like we are doing now. And what we're talking about, making sure that them people are the best in class and are definitely what Manchester United need to go forward. Craig says we're living in the past again. Dougie, big on analytics. Giggs and Beckham would get in any team, anytime, says David. Adam, can I be a mod? Oh, we will see. See how you behave. Dobby says, read the training leak this morning. Steve McLaren arranged the training sessions. The same McLaren who arranged the training sessions on the Fergie 99 treble-winning team. These players are snowflakes. He does do a lot of it. Van der Gaag mainly as well. Let's not forget about him, who has been brought up, Dobby, in the questions and apparently is part of the issue with some of the players, according to the leaks, that is. Again, yeah. Man United players like to get pampered, and when they get mad, they down tools. I think that sums it up quite well. That's it. Honest Tiger has just gifted a membership as well. Who is taking that? Lloyd Fitzgerald, welcome to the members club, my friend. Hope you are doing fantastic. Graham is in the house. Managers with no leg to stand on give delusional messages. It's what happens. Every manager outstaying their welcome has these traits. It is a common trail, is what Graham is saying there. It looks like what Ten Hag is saying and what he's trying to defend is the sign of a manager that is on the edge. Like we said this morning, it's pretty much where Eric is right now. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to get any more comfortable for him over the next few months, especially with the games we've got coming up. Like, there's some scary away games for United coming up as well. But yeah, Darren Fletcher as well. There's more news on Darren Fletcher where he has the club are looking into giving Darren Fletcher another role at the club. So it's the same with Murto again. They just can't seem to let go of people. We'll see. This may just be rumours, I've said all along that Darren Fletcher probably has got a role at some youth level. I was watching the under-18s the other day and I seen Phil Jones walking off the pitch. I was like, wow, there's Philly boy. Oh, good old Phil Jones, eh? But no, Darren Fletcher is definitely the title. They were going on about the title of Darren Fletcher and what his actual role is at the club. It doesn't marry up to what his title is in his director role. So I think Darren Fletcher's going to be moved down or just given another job at the football club. There is something there for him, but with absolutely no power, I would say. And it's like everyone that's from employed within at Manchester United ends up failing, don't they? They do. Everyone just seems to have that same outcome in the end. It doesn't work out. Woodward, Arnold, Murtaugh's going, Fletcher. It doesn't matter who you are. From within the club, it ultimately is... It's like a sacrifice, isn't it? You are going to end up being the fall guy eventually. Every single one of these people don't look like... Because United are failing, don't look like they can do their jobs. The good thing, and what everyone has said in this is, and David Gill said it as well, is Manchester United are employing from outside of the club. This is the only way that things were going to change at Manchester United. So everyone right now, it's like, are you good enough for United? I can see it in the chat with Dougie Freedman. What has Dougie Freedman done? Is he good enough for United? Is there someone better? We don't know who is better for United. Like I said, because no one has ever done these roles before for Manchester United. So it's the unknown for everyone. So we're just going to have to go with it. They're taking their time. They're making sure that they're making the right decisions. They're bringing in the right people. We don't know, actually. There was another bit on Dougie Freedman which said it is unclear at this point if Crystal Palace are going to ask for compensation. God, we're going to have a full team. We're going to be doing... we're going to have groundsmen sooner. We're going to have groundsmen soon because of all the gardening leave we've got going on. Never mind doing gardens. They're going to be doing the bleeding stadiums. They're going to be doing the grounds. Man United are picking out some popular people. But it just goes to show, doesn't it? Like, everything that's kicking off at the moment with who United are going for is because United are going for people that are very important in their roles. And the clubs that we're looking to take them from are not happy about it. So it does show you that we are going for people that are popular within the sport and them rules. So at least we've got that. Like, it's a good sign, if anything. Back into the chat on what you guys are saying. Don't want Manchester to turn into CP. Crystal Palace, that means. It's not going to. It's just about a man giving the same role at a bigger club to go out with a little bit more money maybe and find better players for Manchester United. I mean, could we have found a better midfielder for 17 mil, sorry, was it? Amrabat, I think it was an 8 million plus his wages. So the whole package for Amrabat was extortionate. Was there another midfielder we could have got out there for that price? That's what we will never know because United didn't have the right people in them positions and them roles at the club. So when you look at it that way, this is why we're bringing in these type of people. They should hire Murtaugh and Fletcher to fix the roof. Hope they won't mess it up. It's too big a job. Fred says, if these recruits fail due to Manchester United pressure, what happens? A good question, Fred. Like I was sort of alluding to there, it's like, how patient can the fan base be? There's no guarantee that any of these people coming in, Barada, Ashworth, Freedman and Wilcox, for instance, are going to make this work at Manchester United. You don't know. None of them have dealt with a situation like Manchester United before. If anything, they're all stepping up to a higher role. And that is one concern I have got, but one I think them men are going to be relishing, I think, more than anything. I feel like we're going to be looking at a situation where they are going to grasp this with two hands and enhance their own careers by being part of the team which turned Manchester United around. Turning Manchester United around from a club that has massive, massive history and everything at its disposal to be absolutely huge and completely run into the ground. The ineptitude of the people that work at this football club is beyond anything else. It really is. and they need to change it, and they are looking, and they are doing the right things and making the right steps. Darren Fletcher puts the cones out, picks up Ronaldo from the airport. Says MJA. Dobby, Rashford's night out drinking and the small slap on the wrist is clear that the owners value player power over the manager. They did then. Ineos are in now. Do you reckon Ineos would have done any different with Marcus Rashford if they was in power at the time? It's quite clear that no one was in any role of authority to actually come in and tell Ten Hag what should happen here. It's like Murto, I think, bottled that situation completely, and it's why he needs to be out of the football club. I don't think he's handled anything well at all in what he's done at the football club, where player recruitment wise and the way he's handled some situations. Marty MUFC, if we have to pay clubs compo to take their sporting and recruitment teams, pay off Erik Ten Hag. If we sack him and pay to bring in a new manager, that will add up to a serious chunk of our summer budget. I don't think the budgets for wages, transfers and staff are completely different. I think it's done a different way. It's not as straightforward as, because we're having to pay compensation for a director of football, it comes out of the money that we're going to be spending on players. I was told this a while ago that the wage bill doesn't count to the transfer bill. Obviously, you have to balance the books, and wages are involved with agents' fees and transfer fees for PSR and financial fair play. I understand that, but apparently there are different budgets for each part of it as well, and they're all just added up in the end, and that's when it's calculated for financial fair play. But it's not the same kitty, if that makes sense. That's what I was told anyway. It may well be. It may be different now. But yeah, we're having to spend a lot of money. So Jim's going to have deep pockets. Let's say that. And the Newcastle owners have actually said that, haven't they? Adam, when are you going to do a collab with Flex? He's probably not, because we're both on different channels, mate. We'll cross paths at games and stuff like that. But not right now. I think we're both just too busy. Happy, nothing can change until the summer, when there can be a proper clear out. A change will come when the players start moving on, is how I see it. And I think that's what we have to look at. Christopher, thank you so much Christopher Green. Thank you for the super sticker, my friend. Your first one as well. Very welcome. Very welcome. Honest Tiger, can we not swap most of the players for Freedman? Can we not swap most of the players for Freedman? How do you mean by that, Honest Tiger? I'm not sure what you're getting at there with that one. Graham says it's his look of indignation that makes him howl. Brilliant. I don't know what that was about. Someone else's comments again. Any chance of getting Levin on the channel? We may be able to get Levin on at some point. There'll be some old faces from the past, hopefully we can get on. Ford says, United don't have patience. This guy we are hyping for, he knows how to fight relegation. So please, let's be realistic here and flex for the worst before we get better. I understand what you're saying, Ford. I do. It's the same job, but with more money and more pressure. I feel like that's why they're building a team of experienced people, but it's like the further you go up, the more experienced and powerful they are. So it's like you're going from, no disrespect, from like the Wilcox to Dougie Freedman to Dan Ashworth to Omar Barada. It just steps up a level every single time. So you've always got someone to go to, and you've always got an experience level above. And I think that structure is a recipe for success at Manchester United, because above him you've got Stevie Brailsford. Above Omar Barada, that is, you've got Stevie Brailsford, and you've got Jean-Claude Blanc, and then you've got the head honcho himself, which is Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So you have got plenty of backup there, I feel, with the experience levels as they go up. Araya says Dan Ashworth and Dougie is fire. Lee Dixon, Lee Gunner would send your ratings through the roof, Adam. I've actually done work with Lee before. Maybe we'll do something before the Arsenal game. Let's see, hey. Let's see. We have a new member in the house, which is, it's been donated by Fred. Fred, thank you so much. I'm just waiting to see who it is. It is Andreas Rasmussen. Thank you, Fred, and welcome to the Members Club. Graham says, Adam, I do think Ineos want Marcus Rashford on board. I don't. I think they should. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if Ineos want him on board. They may well do. I honestly think it's a massive, massive mistake. And I think they'll learn further down the line that it's a mistake if they do keep him. I don't think he is the man for Manchester United, even though he's the face of the football club. I really think he's so far away from that. It's ridiculous. It really is. Get your questions, get your comments coming in, everybody. I'm just scouring through the social media world right now. Representatives of several managers have approached Manchester United due to doubts over Erik ten Hag's future. The club has not held discussions with candidates, though. That's from Rob Dawson from ESPN. So, yeah, the vultures are circling, agents, with their candidates for managers, people, their clients that they think can do a job at Manchester United. That's a big, big list, isn't it? Erik ten Hag has been given no formal guarantee by Sir Jim Ratcliffe or his team that he will be in charge next season. Rob Dawson. That is another one that's come out. That's what I was talking about before about Ten Hag updates. These ones keep on coming. Mike McGrath has also said Manchester United are looking at Roberto De Zerbi as their next manager. He has admirers at the club and his release clause is set to be upwards of 12 million. Now, that's Brighton logic for you again. That's what they do. Ashworth, I feel, would have a say on that. We said this morning that Ashworth looks like, everyone was saying, according to reports, that Ashworth was leading towards Potter. You're looking at a bunch of candidates here. So I had Potter, I had De Zerbi, I had Tuchel and Nagelsmann as a complete mix. I would have gone with Nagelsmann out of them. De Zerbi's name keeps on coming up. It's been reported by Mike McGrath now, and Ten Hag, we know, has got no guarantee. And I think all of the noises and everything we're talking about this morning is that Ten Hag looks like he's on his way out. Again, I'm going to flip it back to what was more important at this stage for Manchester United. Ten Hag is in position right now. He knows who the bad players are at Manchester United. He can shed some light on serious issues at this football club if Ineos let him. Are they going to? That's the biggest question. Should they keep Ten Hag just so they can get that clean slate? Because it's going to take the player outings as well as the manager and the coaching staff. If that is the case, it's going to take everyone gone, or the main players, main protagonists gone from what has been going wrong over recent years to make this a fresh start for Manchester United. Ineos, I don't think, will be successful with the same core of players. I don't think anyone can work with these players. And if there's more structure above, then will it hamper Manchester United with these players? It's who is in charge now, isn't it? There's more people to take the blame than just the manager now with Ineos coming in. There's more people involved in the transfers. The manager doesn't have to take the flak for all of the players that are coming into the football club now. It's like right now we're looking at it and I'm dissecting Ten Hag signings. You know that the Ten Hag signings because he said it himself. Whereas from the summer forward, it won't just be the manager that's going to take the flak for it. Maybe this is taking the pressure off the manager at United. Manchester United is such a massive football club that not one man can run them. Not unless you are the genius, which is Sir Alex Ferguson. It's impossible to run this club from above and below. By that I mean controlling the youth team like Ten Hag has got a big influence on. We know that for certain. Then he's managing above himself, dealing with Murto and everything like that. And the signings, it's all being taken away from him if he is in charge, that is. So there'll be no more transfer pressure, I don't feel, on the managers. It will be more of a collaboration of opinions and analytics, like people have been saying with Dougie Freedman, the improvement side of things, the development side, whether that's going to be Wilcox, Dan Ashworth's experience in recruitment as well. You've got a lot there an awful lot there to come together. And you compare what's going to be there next season to what was there at the start of this season just gone, then that's how you need to look at United and think how we're looking ahead. Because Ten Hag on his own, he's just a lamb to the slaughter. He really is. It's like the impossible job. The impossible job for Ten Hag. So that is where I feel sorry for him. Everything that he has brought into the football club player-wise, I think he's got a big say on it. I think he's got wrong, and he has to take a big chunk of the flak for that. If this came in last season, this structure with Ten Hag after the third place finish season, I think United would have had a great chance of improving. I really do. But too much has happened. Too much water's gone under the bridge with Ten Hag, and I feel that is the problem now with Ineos in trying to see past this. The reports as well that I was just reading was the mood amongst the club and Ineos after the defeat at home to Fulham wasn't one that was very encouraging for the manager. And then added on top of that, the humiliation against Manchester City has just added to it as well. So it's not an easy position for Ten Hag to be in. It really isn't. He hasn't helped himself, but the club are looking to move forward in a different direction. I just cannot see it with him at all, the way it's going right now. Daniel Longbottom has been a member for a month. Thank you, Daniel. What are your thoughts on Erik Ten Hag? Will he be here end of the year? I think I just answered that, Daniel, actually. I don't think he'll be here at the end of the season. I think Ineos are going to bring someone else in. I really do. Keep liking the video, guys. Let's get up to the 150 mark, everybody. Thank you. Why waste your energy on defending Erik Ten Hag? It's over. He is going to go. I'm not wasting my energy. I'm just trying to balance the argument. I feel he has done some good things, but ultimately he will get the sack, I feel. Henry Long, Adam, if Ten Hag is sacked, then the players have got their wish again and another one bites the dust. I know. It's just the way football works. Someone has to go. We are going to lose a lot of the players this summer at least as well. So it is going to be a bit different. I just don't... For Ten Hag, I just don't see Ineos looking at what he's doing on the pitch right now as a manager that can bring what Sir Jim Radcliffe said he wants United style to be. That free-flowing, attacking, exciting football. I don't think Ten Hag has got it in him. He may, and we had some nice football what he played at Ajax, but still, you have to look at what he's produced at Manchester United in these 2 years and go, there hasn't really been a sustained spell where you've gone, I can see a direction. I'm confident in this team moving forward. I can see how we're actually playing. It's not there, is it? It isn't there, and that's the problem he's got. Remember the humiliation he has inflicted on fans regarding Liverpool and City? I do. Christopher Green with another super sticker. Thank you, mister. That's 2 in 1 day for you, my friend. Nani would get playing time still, Adam, says Rajat. Nani was an alright player. Ineos will want the credit for the success. Their big battle is coming on 3 years versus the Glazers. Ineos have got a lot of work to do. Dealing with the Glazers and working alongside them is a job on its own. Is there an advantage to keep Erik Ten Hag to the end of the season, Adam? For the sake of an interim, no. I don't think bringing that in right now works. Give Ten Hag till the end of the season. Let's see what he can get out of this squad. We may be surprised. I don't know. I'm clutching at straws, really, I think there. If anything, I don't think we are going to see Ten Hag come the last few games of the season. I think it's all looking at the Arsenal game at home. I think if we lose to Arsenal, I think that's the writing on the wall, because I think that'll be them fighting for the title and us a million miles away, and it'd be too much to take. We have fallen so far behind who we used to be miles ahead of. It's just an embarrassment for the football club. It really is. And I think that will be the game when Ten Hag ends up getting his marching orders for me. As long one toxic player remains at the club, he will infect the new players and get the new manager sacked again. If United want to rebuild, they need to get rid of all the senior players, especially Rashford. I've said Rashford needs to go. I know he needs to go. I'm going to stick to that. Ineos can say what they want, but I know that Rashford has not got it in him to take United to that next level. He is an impact player. that can possibly come on and do something, but you don't have 350 grand's worth sat on the bench. He wants to be a starter. You look at what happens in the Euros this summer with Marcus Rashford. He's basically going to the Euros, or he will go to the Euros, because Gareth Southgate rates him. Gareth Southgate thinks he's a player that won't let him down. Marcus Rashford will be at the Euros ahead of, I feel, he'll be ahead of Gerard Bowen, and he'll be ahead of Anthony Gordon from Newcastle. Wrongly, because both of them should be ahead of him. But in the Euros, it works for Rashford because he can be on the bench and that impact player. He's used to playing in the big tournaments. And you know what? If there's a moment in that game, Rashford would probably take more advantage of it than what Gordon or Gerard Bowen would have. And it may sound crazy in what I'm saying there, but Gareth Southgate will look at it and go, I'd rather Rashford running clean through because he's got that experience and he is a big game player when it comes to them moments. What he brings to the team as a whole is nothing compared to Gerard Bowen and Anthony Gordon. But neither of them three are going to play. They're all bench players, including Marcus Rashford. And I think that's why he will go. That's why he will still have some price tag. And moments like City, moments like Wolves, them brilliant goals that he scored, all bode well for United come the summer, because if PSG come looking, it actually gives them something to look at. It gives them that little bit of added incentive to go for Marcus Rashford, because they can still see he can do something. He's the perfect player for PSG and how they play. Letting go over there, and you want someone to work and graft, Rashford's not your man. We are not going to go anywhere near challenging for a title if Rashford is a first-team starter. That's my opinion on that. Like Andrew said, Cole Palmer, Gordon, levels above Rashford and Shaw are, in my opinion, a huge part of the hassle at this club. Dave Burgess, we need to keep showing PSG clips of his goal against Manchester City, said that. England are never going to win anything under Southgate. He needs to win the Euros, he really does. Foden's miles ahead. Yes, he is miles ahead. Yeah, but Rashford used to get 4 buses. Yeah, Bexy, he did. I know. Pedro Neto will take him. There's more rumours about him as well. It's all starting to start of like come to the fore now, isn't it? All speculation. It's only going to get hyped and hyped and hyped more and more and more. And it is going to be, we say it every single show, don't we? It's going to be a crazy old summer. It really is. Bringing a new manager in now makes most sense. They can work out who they're keeping and who goes. There's a good point. Boxing straight talk. It is. You can actually see who's going to be letting you down. But an interim manager, it's if you're bringing in a manager now who is going to be part of the club for that 3 years. That's what it has to be. A permanent manager, you mean, boxing straight talk. I think that's what you're on about there, because he can then wean out who he knows is going to let him down. It does. There is a point to that. Who would come in right now, knowing that the season, I mean, he could turn it around. You could get a new manager bounce and United go on a charge. Is that worth a shout for bringing a new manager in? If United do bring a new manager in and he gets more out of these players, he's then going to think that these players are actually all right and keep them when we know they're going to let him down. We know they're all going to let him down when it comes to next season. It's a tough one to decide on. I understand the bounce side of things and maybe get Summit, maybe get Champions League, go on a great run. But that will just convince the manager and Ineos that these players actually still have got something, when we know a leopard never changes his spots and they will down tools again the season after. It's as simple as that. We know it's going to happen. We've seen it all the time. We have spells where we think they're turning a corner and then we just go back to type and it always ends up the same old story, doesn't it? It always does. That is it, guys, for today's show. Champions League football is on. Enjoy your night. Enjoy the football. Thank you for tuning in. New members and super chats, all of your comments, thank you so much. Please, please, please give the video a like on your way out, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And I will see you all tomorrow. Hopefully, we have a bit more positive news, because I think it is positive the way that United are looking to restructure at the moment. So let's look at this as a positive one, and hopefully we get more of that going through the week. Have a good one, people. Stay safe, and I will see you all tomorrow.